Okay, what I have here is I have another piece of pine 3/4 thick, and I have drawn a little square that I want to cut out. I want to cut out this piece right here. Now the bandsaw is very versatile in such that you can cut curves in your project. However, if you cut too sharp, you have the ability to bend the blade past its shear point, and it will actually turn over itself and potentially snap that blade. So we want to be very careful how sharp we actually turn this. So if I wanted to cut this block out, if I was to cut in here, I could cut down to this point. However, once I got to this point, I have to make a decision. Do I want to stop the machine, back it back out, and try and cut in from another direction, or do I want to turn as sharp as I can and try and make that corner beforehand? That's what I have to decide in my mind before I actually start using this machine, where I want to plan my cut. For doing something like this, if this is the piece that I want afterwards and I'm trying to get rid of this, we have a particular cut called a relief cut, and it relieves the pressure. So I'll cut in here and I'll cut in here, and then I'll come back and I'll cut across the grain to this point, freeing up that whole triangle piece to come back out, and that is considered a relief cut. Doing that relief cut relieves the pressure and it opens it up so I can come in here and cut from a different angle. When I cut in here, if I was to just back the board back out again, since I've been using the bandsaw so long, I can get away with it. However, if somebody is unskilled and they start to back this board back out, if it turns at all, I have the ability to catch the back side of this band. And if I was to catch the back side and pull this way, if you notice, it's free to travel. And if I pull too much, what will happen is this band will come off of that wheel up there. And when this comes off, this whole canister right here turns into a drum set. And unfortunately at that point, when it comes off, it makes a whole lot of noise. You have to change your underwear, and the rest of the class knows what you have done. So it's best in a situation, especially when you are learning how to use this bandsaw, is to turn the machine off when you've got to the back end of a cut, and then pull it out while the machine is off. At that point, you have no risk of pulling this off. The bandsaw has guides on the back and on the sides, and those guides will, if I push into this bandsaw, will hold it in that place, and so the band will not push back any farther. It also has guides on the side, so when I twist it a little bit, it will help stabilize that band. So I'm going to go ahead and cut in here, and then I'm going to turn the machine off, back it out. I'm going to come over here, cut in on this side, turn the machine off, back it out, and then I'm going to do my relief cut. Again, as you become more experienced, you can actually do this straight cut and back it back out with the machine running, but I would not advise it for your own pride in the beginning. Now that the machine has come to a full stop, I will back it out, and since I want to get rid of this middle piece, I'm going to give myself a little bit of a guideline to maneuver across this. And I'm going to do a straight relief cut from one corner to the other, and I'm going to try and aim somewhat for that line so I come out on the other side and this piece will come out. However, you will notice when I cut through, as soon as I get really close to this point, what I'm going to do is slow down almost to the point of stopping, and then just barely come up to that corner to let this part relieve. The reason I do that is if I continually cut up to this point, when that final piece gives way and it slides across, I will actually go through too far and I will end up getting the piece that I want left over. So it's very important that you slow down right at the end of your cut when you're freeing up a piece on a relief cut. At this point, the natural tendency is to want to flick that board out of the way. However, if you are flicking that and you end up flicking your finger out of the way and your finger rolls off on the ground over there, you're going to be very disappointed. So at this point, it's best to use your own project to move that other one out of the way, or a secondary piece, or obviously wait till the machine is off and then reach around and grab your piece. Now that I have created that huge relief, I can come in here now and actually turn my project and do a cut right at the back side and cut most of the rest of this off in one shot. However, at this point, what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to curve my cut a little bit to cut more than I want. If I was to cut straight across, I'd leave more material than I need to. So what I'm going to end up doing is cutting in a little bit at an angle and then turning until I end up straight on this side. So I'm going to come in at an angle and turn. You can cut to a certain angle, and the curve that you can cut to is all dependent on the thickness of the band. So this one is a 3/8 band. That means it's 3/8 depth thick from the front end to the back end. And that 3/8 means I can cut a certain size hole. As I get my depth smaller with that band, the smaller it gets, the easier I can cut corners. However, the easier it breaks as well. So if I have a really wide one, it will cut straight lines really fast, but I can't turn very sharp. I'm going to follow this in with a 3/8. I should be able to make that curve right there. Now for my last cut, what I can do is bring it back again and finish this off, and I'll have my complete square cut out with relief cuts. And that is how I plan my cuts. Okay, one more thing that I want to cover on this. I have a lot of Rambos in my class that show up and they think it's really tough to be able to cut as fast as they can to cut their project out. And if somebody is in line behind you and is trying to encourage you to cut faster to get your project done, you need to tell them to take a step back, flip them off, whatever it takes to get them to give you that time to do it safely. The common terminology I use is slow is better than fast. If you are going too fast, oftentimes you're going to cut past the line that you want, and you're going to end up doing that project over again. So slow is better than fast with a bandsaw.